Very much so. So I'm born and raised in California. So I have seen and witnessed a lot of natural disasters. Obviously, I was highly aware of the Camp Fire that decimated the town of Paradise, California, killed 85 people. And I obviously was aware of it. It was catastrophic when we were hearing about it. And then in 2021, Lizzie Johnson wrote a book. She had spent 6 months embedded with the people of Paradise and wrote an incredible book. And when it was published, the Washington Post did a story about the book, but then they did a little box telling the story of Kevin McKay, the school bus driver who volunteered to go pick up the children in the school bus. And I remember I said to my husband, wow, well, there's the movie. I mean, that should be the movie. And I didn't do anything. And the next day, I was driving to visit my sister and I was listening to NPR, and Scott Simon was interviewing Lizzie Johnson about her book, Paradise. And he said, the story that really got me, Lizzie, was the story of Kevin McKay and Mary Ludwig. And I pulled my car over on the side of the road and I called Jason and I said, I'm sending you a link to both things. And I said, Jason, I want to buy the book. I think it will be the most important thing either one of us ever do in the movie business. And I want to do it with you. And from that day, that was August 21st, 2021. And so
Yeah.
barely just 4 years later, we have the movie being released. I knew that you could never tell the vastness of that fire story without being able to focus it in on something as simple as a school bus driver and a teacher protecting 22 children. It lent itself from a narrative standpoint to being able to focus a story that would just be vast. But then, of course, in the hands of Paul Greengrass, you have a master filmmaker whose background is in documentary filmmaking. And so the scope of the fire is so immersive and terrifying that you get both. You get this very personal narrative story, and then you get this very explosive um, uh, visual movie experience that the combination of the two is really quite masterful.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And Paul Greengrass was the perfect choice as the director there as well.
He was my
And
number one. He was my number one on my list, by the way. I
that
had two names. He was number one.
that's great to hear.